guys, welcome back to my YouTube. I'm simply Naya because my name is Naya, and as you can tell by the title of this video, today's video is going to be about living in Italy. I got my book here, so if you see me looking over, I'm just looking at the list I made of all the things I want to go over. Language barrier. It's pretty hard if you go out or go places around the military bases here. I would say that it's pretty easy to communicate with the Italians because they learn English in school, and they pretty much learn English because they know that the Americans bring in the money, like we're the business. So but if you like traveling to like other places where like further out from the military bases, they don't really speak English, so it's pretty much hard to try to communicate. We encourage them to learn to speak English, they encourage us to learn to speak Italian, which I would say if you're really working towards trying to speak Italian, you can pick up on it. Like me, I've been in the military for a little over 3 years, but I've been stationed here in Italy for April would make 3 years, and I only know a few words in Italian. So if you actually put in the work, you can definitely get there. I feel like this is a place for you to visit, not live. And I say that because you will see how it's such a scam here. Like they overprice everything for Americans than they do with the Italians. And I have this Italian friend, and she worked at a fairly few places, restaurants, clubs, bars, things like that. And she told me about this time where she worked at this restaurant and they had a menu specifically for Americans and they had a menu specifically for Italians, which basically they overpriced everything on the American menu. And yeah, basically everything is a scam here. And then she told me about this time where she worked at this bar and she was basically getting paid under the table. So they pretty much cheat the system here. Everything is a scam. They try to get as much money out of you as possible. They immediately think when you come here, you're military, you're American, you're military, whether you're here traveling or you are military. You don't even have to tell them because they think you're American, you're rich, let's take all the money that they have. Another reason I say that is because, well, like me personally, I don't think that this place is like chill. Well, I would say it's chill, but we're in an infantry brigade, so I feel like every battalion in their own way wants to be infantry so bad that they do a lot of combat infantry type things, which is not a problem. But most people, like when you first get here, they'll tell you, like higher ups, people that have been here for a while, or this is like maybe their second or third duty station, will also tell you this is not a good first duty station for anybody because you'll get complacent, then you go somewhere else and you'll get in trouble because you lost your military bearing. Which me personally, I feel like it's a time and place for everything, like who to do what with who. So I feel like once you leave here, it shouldn't be a problem with military bearing because you learn military bearing and basic training, which will be a whole nother video about me talking about females and basic training, or basic training in general, more so the perspective of females because I'm a female. I can't really speak too much for the males. I can tell y'all what I experienced or what I see them go through, but it'll be more so for the females. So I would say this is like a place you visit, you know, do tourist things, go see things, but this is not a place to live. The races here, I would say it's more so the older Italians, like old people that are racist. Some of them don't even care about you knowing at all, don't care at all. And then some of them are not racist, which is pretty much like that everywhere, but it gets bad sometimes. Like sometimes it gets bad. And then you'll have like the Italians, like the females basically, that just want to get on base. We call them barracks bunnies. They probably been here way before you even got here, but they just want to get signed on base. Some of them try to sneak on base or whatever. It's ridiculous the extent and the lengths they will go to get on base. It's ridiculous. So some of them will basically like use the military men for that. Some of them would just like get with a military man, get married just so they're able to go back to the States and most likely divorce them and do what they want to do because they made it to the States. Some of them just want to use you for your money for the time being. They know that you're going to leave here eventually, and this unit is like a 3-year unit. They just want to use you for your money. And as you can see, I'm repping my school today, University of Maryland. I absolutely love that the travel here is cheap. Once you're over here, you can go anywhere like on this side of the waters for cheap. And I absolutely love that for me. Whether it's by train, by plane, by bus, the travel is absolutely cheap. And I love that. So if you're thinking about visiting Italy, or if you're getting stationed over here, you're already stationed over here, travel as much as possible because it's cheap. Do it. I promise you, you won't regret it. Being away from family, that's kind of a hard one because when I first got here, it was like during the COVID times when it was like spiked. So we had to quarantine on the other base like 10 or 15 minutes away from here. We had to quarantine quarantined there for 2 weeks, and pretty much I went through a state of depression where I just ate, was in bed, didn't want to do anything. Well, we couldn't do anything anyway, couldn't even go to each other's rooms or anything, but pretty much I was depressed, like really depressed, where I would just like look out my window like, dang, I really want to go home, I really miss home. And it was the same for my roommate. We didn't even come out and get to know each other, like watch movies together, eat together. We didn't do any of that until maybe like the last week, where we were just like, okay, we're here, we came here alone, let's not sit in a state of depression and make friends. So it was kind of cool after that. So, and then especially like with holidays, I would say my company, I can speak for my company personally, they are really good with trying to, you know, keep people high spirited through the holidays, because we're on a like recall for possible deployment, which I can't speak too much about, but we couldn't really go home or be with family for Thanksgiving. So my first sergeant had his own Thanksgiving with his family, and then the next day he had one for the whole company to come out, which majority of us pretty much did. And it's just like a family away from your family, where you just get together, make sure everybody's feeling and doing okay, you know, be a family. And that was like the best thing, and I really appreciate them for doing that. Like they do that fairly a lot, trying to make sure everybody's staying high spirits. So I really appreciate my first sergeant and my commander for that. The expenses of going back home, it is very expensive to travel back home, especially depending on the time of year you're going back home. It is super expensive. That's why we try to encourage family and friends to come to us as well, because depending on the time of year you're trying to go home, you'll be spending almost $3,000 just on a plane ticket to go home. So I've been like encouraging my family and friends to come visit me here, which you will have more fun, it's cheaper to do everything. I even like tell them, like, if you can't afford the ticket on your own, we can go half on the ticket. That's cheaper. 2 instead of 1 paying that is cheaper. And then like, let's be real, we're adults now. Nobody want to just go through this repetitive cycle of, okay, it's holidays, I'm gonna go home. We want to travel. I could be going to Sydney or London or Paris. I could be going to Spain. I don't always want to go home. I want to travel. So you can come along. So family, friends, think about that. If you have loved ones that's stationed here or that's even living here, think about that before you just be like, oh, they just don't want to see me, they don't care, you know, all of that. Try to come to them, and keep in mind that it's very expensive going back to the States. I absolutely love the culture here. Love the culture, because as we all know, the US, the culture is pretty much dead. Everything is constantly changing, but here they keep up with the culture so well. You know, every place you go, they're gonna have the like rundown side of town, but for the most part, the buildings, the attitude, the personality, it's like everything here is so cultural, and they keep up with it, and I absolutely love that. It's so beautiful to see, like just walking out downtown and looking at the buildings and everything, you're just like, wow, I love that. You know, my most favorite, the food here is absolutely fresh, no preservatives, no chemicals. The food here in the Italian stores are absolutely fresh. Grocery shopping in the Italian stores, wow, I just love it. You can go buy a pack of meat, you can buy a pack of wings, chicken, steak. You can buy a steak for €2 and some change. You can buy chicken for €3 and some change, like this big. Drink, soda, juice, anything. You can buy a whole 6-pack of it for €1, €1.02. I love that. It is so cheap. Like, they don't overprice things, and I love that about them. Well, it depends on what we're talking. Now, if you're just out shopping, or you out trying to get some food, yeah, but if you're going grocery shopping, Europe offer a lot to see. So I suggest, if you're already stationed here, like I was saying before, travel as much as possible, because it's a whole lot to see. You can go searching up you look on the Google map, search up places you've never been. I promise you, it doesn't matter where you go, unless it's like a countryside of town. It doesn't matter where you go, it's always something beautiful to see, always something fun to do. Get up, get out, go explore. That's the best advice I got for you. The legal age in Italy, I think it's like 15. So a lot of people, when they get over here, they get stationed here and they're like under 21, they immediately turn into alcoholics, because you can drink anywhere anywhere, anytime, any day without getting in any trouble. And yeah, you know, the military belongs to the US, but we go by the Italian rules, so it's not much they can do about it. Now if you end up getting like DUIs and stuff like that, they can step in then, but other than that, they just tell you to be safe, you know, because they can't really stop you from drinking. So that's a problem for people that's like under 21, because once you leave here and go back to the States, it's pretty much going to be miserable because you're gonna turn into this alcoholic, going back to like not being able to drink at all. So that's like pretty much a downfall, and it's kind of good for them, but it's kind of a downfall when they leave here if you don't leave here 21 and above. But yeah, overall I love it here. Sometimes you know, everybody have their days like, oh, I can't stand it here, oh, I love it here. So it's just kind of mixed emotions about it, but for the most part, overall, I absolutely love Europe and I wouldn't mind coming here again, just not to live. That's all for this video. I hope you guys like it. Remember to subscribe and remember to hit that notification bell so you can stay updated on when I post another video. You have to stay in the loop. Thank you all for watching. See y'all in my next video. Bye.